Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. The New Orleans Pelicans have a season-best 5-game winning streak after a 99-92 win at Denver last night, which, of course, reversed a loss to Denver earlier in the season at New Orleans. And again, they did it shorthanded, without Anthony Davis, without Drew Holiday, and, of course, without Ryan Anderson. And, Lenny, their defense has been very, very good. And their offense, you've got guys stepping up and just getting the job done every night, whether it's Ajinça or Cunningham or Gordon or Pondexter, Babbitt, whoever it may be. Every night somebody steps up.
Yeah, somebody different, it seems like, just about every night, and they're making plays when they've had to make them. And what we're seeing this team doing of late is closing out games. Saw the way they closed out Friday night against Miami. They were in a tie game midway through the fourth quarter against Denver and drew off to win that game. So that is encouraging that they can close games out down the stretch without so many of those key parts that you talked about. And like you say, it's been somebody different just about every single night stepping up with some kind of key contribution.
Well, defending much better, too. Ashik is not the prettiest thing to watch on the offensive end, but he rebounds and he defends. Ajinça, as I mentioned, has been really good. Every time Anthony Davis doesn't play, he steps up and plays big. So, again, they're getting contributions all around. And Norris Cole, after one bad game, came back with another good game against Denver. So now, here's the tough part. Back-to-back, and not a short trip to Dallas from Denver. It's not a long trip, but still back-to-back and a trip overnight to play in Dallas tonight. Advantage Mavericks, but a big game here because after this you come home for a 3-game homestand and you play Detroit and Boston, 2 teams you should beat at home before a big game against Memphis, who might be the best team in the West.
Might be, and you're right. This is a very key stretch of games here. So we talked about it last week. This is an interesting back-to-back, perfectly legal in terms of how the rules are set up for these things, but it's still going Denver to Dallas can be a bit of a challenge. And you're coming out of that, coming out of playing in that altitude, which does take more out of you. Get on a plane, fly to Dallas, short turnaround for this one. So, this will be a key on Monday night. If you can manage to get this one against a very good Mavericks team, you set yourself up. And, look, Oklahoma City has dropped a couple here on their West Coast swing. The Pelicans just a half game out of the 8th spot right now.
And, of course, Westbrook is now hurt, so we'll see how that impacts Oklahoma City. How long he'll sit after the surgery remains to be seen. So all of a sudden, there's a real shot here, folks. Stay tuned. Speaking of basketball, LSU, big win over Ole Miss. That really helped their RPI, helped them in terms of pecking order in the SEC, and they are continuing to play very well. Tennessee at home this week, that's a game they should win. They won at Tennessee. And then, of course, you get a game on the road at Arkansas, a very high RPI team. So realistically, Lenny, if they can beat Tennessee and lose to Arkansas, they're still in and they're in good shape. If they somehow win both, they're in great shape. If they lose both, well, maybe now you're once again looking at the bubble. Who knows?
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do the rest of the way is not win a game. Take care of the games you need to take care of. Starting with Tennessee, and who knows, a strong finish here, might put LSU in a position to get a double bye. Certainly, you're going to get a bye out of the first round into the second round, playing in all likelihood a team that will have played the night before. So that's an advantageous situation to be in. But if you can find a way to get that double bye into the quarterfinals, now you're perhaps playing a team that's had to play the 2 previous nights when you get in that situation. We'll see how it all plays out here over the final week of the regular season, as that's what we are down to now. But Johnny Jones' team in a very good spot. And kudos to Tim Quarterman. Terrific performance. He sprained his ankle on the last play of practice on Friday, and all he did was go out on Saturday and have a triple-double. The only other points, rebounds, assists, triple-double in the history of the LSU program was by a guy I think you might remember named Maravich.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. And the first triple-doubles in Shaq over 2 decades ago. So very special for Quarterman. They're playing very well at the right time. College baseball, big weekend series win for Tulane. They walked off on Sunday with a win over Creighton in what was a highly contested, spirited series. They didn't shake hands afterwards. That tells you one thing. But it also gets Tulane ranked in the national polls for the first time in, I guess, about 4 years, in at 25, and richly deserving.
Richly deserving, no question about it. You got to like what David Pierce has done with this team, and how they have managed to find a way to win late. This is 4 times already this year they have trailed going into the 9th inning and won a game, and they did it again on Sunday, trailing 2-1 going into the 9th, scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th to win 3-2. It got a little contentious on Saturday when a couple of the Creighton players spiked Tulane's first baseman running down the line. In fact, our own Parker Waters with a terrific shot where you can actually see, the foot going right into the other foot. And, that's not the way you play the game. I'm sorry, it's not the way, baseball is meant to be played. It's to a certain degree, it's a gentleman's sport where they kind of police themselves. And the dugouts emptied for a moment there on Saturday. After the second one of those incidents took place, but order was quickly restored. Give the umpires credit. They got the coach together, said, hey, enough of this. But you're right, it was definitely a contentious series.
LSU erupted for, 22 runs in a doubleheader win over Princeton on Saturday. They're still near the top of the pile in terms of rankings nationally. And, of course, they get a couple of games this week, frankly, against teams they should beat, Stephen F. Austin and Grambling, before they have a big weekend series coming up over at Minute Maid Park.
Very much so. A chance to play in that Astros College Classic. You're going to get them in. You know the weather's going to be good because they'll close the roof and make sure it is. And that's a great atmosphere. I'm interested to see how many LSU fans make the trip over to Houston. Of course, they've got a great fan base in that part. I would venture to guess they will draw as well as some of the Texas teams there. Yeah,
of course, Baylor, Nebraska. I'm trying to think of the third team is, but the bottom line is they'll be playing good competition and away from home, which will help your RPI too. So stay tuned for that. UNO got a big win over Middle Tennessee on Sunday, the salvage game of that series. They lost a tough one on Friday night. Delgado split a pair. Loyola lost 2 of 3 at home to Belhaven. So college baseball will continue to keep you posted. And, of course, finally, high school sports. And it's prevalent again. Boys playoffs in basketball going on and continuing. Follow SportsNOLA.com where that's concerned. Girls now in the top 28, and they start tomorrow in the 7 classes in Lake Charles. We'll have full coverage at SportsNOLA.com as well. And where the boys are concerned, we'll also have a game for you live at SportsNOLA.com in the playoffs. A familiar matchup between District 9-1A rivals Country Day and St. Martin's. Country Day, defending state champion, and here they are playing St. Martin's, a team they've handled consistently over the years. But St. Martin's a nice club and in the regional round, and we'll have it for you live at SportsNOLA.com Tuesday night at 7. Looking forward to that.
Should be fun. St. Martin's at home. Look, in the playoffs, you never know. What's the adage about it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season? Well, Country Day's already done it twice. Now they've got to go back to the St. Martin's gym to try to do it for a 3rd time. But Mike McGuire's teams have been there and done that so many times, you have to give them the edge on paper.
And last but not least, kudos to St. Paul's, St. Scholastica, and Ben Franklin for winning state soccer championships. Ben Franklin on the girls' side for a 3rd straight year. Boy, they're going to miss Alex Tomic. She's off to LSU on scholarship. And, of course, St. Paul's winning it 2nd straight year. St. Scholastica 2nd straight year. These are great programs, and they proved it, and the crowds were very good at Tag Gormley Stadium.
Yep, and this is the best area in the state for soccer, and we saw that with just who got to the finals, and they came out and supported those games.
And congratulations to Vanderbilt Catholic as well for their unbelievable shootout win over Ben Franklin on the boys' side, which was an epic game. And obviously, congratulations to all who reached the state championship games. So that's going to wrap it up for us. That's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle. First NBC Bank is a proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Thanks, Lenny. Have a great week.
All right, we'll see you later this week.
That's Lenny. I'm Kenny. You have a great week as well, and God bless you.